Hi, and welcome back to the Mental Health and Addiction YouTube channel. I'm Justin. It's sad that it's come to this, but I am in my own home, so I think it's going to be safe not to wear that. In case you weren't able to hear what I said a moment ago with my mouth covered, I want to welcome you back to the Mental Health and Addiction YouTube channel. My name's Justin, and I've got a few things to talk about. One thing I want to say is I want to get a little bit of interaction from some of you guys so that I can get some feedback and maybe we can get some discussions going. I really do want to do that. I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of an introduction about who I am. Some of my friends call me Jay, but my name is Justin. I was born in Texas. I don't come from a broken home or anything like that. Grew up in a little bit of a bubble with no cable. But I did have the internet, and it was a place where I wouldn't have to hide who I was, although I was young. I was on dial-up American Online and using DOS, AOL DOS. So I was born in '80, but anyway. So I lived with my family in Texas. Some of the time was kind of in the, I guess you could say, a rural area, and it was difficult coming out as gay and at all, but especially the way I grew up and with where we live and how those kind of go together. I met my first boyfriend when I decided I wanted to stay home because my family was going on vacation to Mexico. I was obviously invited. I was 18, just turned 18, I guess, maybe a little later, something like that. But nonetheless, I was 18, and I decided to stay home. They were just kind of like, "Oh, well, I guess you can stay home." They hadn't considered that I would want to do that, and none of this was the following was planned or anything. But I'm sure it seemed like it was. By the time they got back, I think it was a week later, I told them I wanted to move out and went ahead and told them I was gay too. And that was my first boyfriend, Peter. We had problems. Me and Peter had problems. He was not faithful, not able to keep a promise. He would keep going to use drugs and stuff. And we moved to San Francisco, which at the time I had no clue what that was meaning. I just knew I had a friend who lived there and we could stay with him until we got, more going on. But for him, it was like great because that's like the gay capital of the world and drug central. So let's just say he had a ball, and he had it by himself. I wasn't going to put up with that crap. But that was a very hard breakup, and I had to do it. It was my first breakup. We were together about 2.5 years. But in San Francisco, that was the first time I was exposed to and used hard drugs. I came back to Texas, and about 2 years later, I met the guy who I was with for over 15 years. We moved a lot. We did do some traveling and stuff like that. We had an alright relationship, but there were some issues that had been going on and came to a head whenever I was having problems with opiates. Both prescription and street. And finally, we just broke up. But that hurt, and I was still an addict, but even at times only took my prescription, even though I was still an addict. I met a guy I married, so I was trying to just take my prescriptions. The day we decided we were getting divorced, I relapsed. He doesn't know that, but he didn't really know me well enough or care enough about my life for him to get that knowledge, so he didn't get to know that. The breakup hurt, all those breakups hurt me, but the worst one was still probably the 15-year one. The guy who I met and married actually just really, I think, saw dollar signs that obviously weren't there, especially for him. Finally got the divorce finalized last, maybe in January. But we were married for well over a year and only lived together for a couple weeks. I tried to get an annulment done, but I didn't have the money. I sure do wish I had had that annulment done, because what he claimed on the divorce papers was ridiculous. He owes me money, yet he's claiming I couldn't support him. But we lived in my house, used my car. Anyway, I know what it's like whenever you get clean or make an effort to get clean, and it feels like something's happening that keeps kicking you down. I don't know why this happens in life, but I think it's important that we do recognize that this kind of stuff can happen, and a lot of times it happens to certain people more than others, and some people who just seem to have a life without the kind of worries that people like myself suffer daily. They just look and think, God, what did they do in their life to deserve all these freaking problems? Or are they making it up? Or, they must be this, or they must be, the assumptions get made about someone and why stuff keeps happening to them, or why they keep needing stuff. And that can really wear down on the individual who's already worn down by constant setbacks in their life. They don't want them any more than anyone wants to hear about them. But there's still been struggles. I've been clean since January of last year, and I took Suboxone until April 28th of last year, which was my birthday last year. This year I will be 40 on April 28th. I live in Colorado Springs now. Texas was absolutely horrible. The medical coverage, I'm not going to go into details about any of this stuff, but the medical coverage was atrocious. The the living wages were atrocious. It hadn't gone up in over 11 years, and it's at $7.25 an hour, stagnant. And you can't live off that, even at full time. So we moved to Colorado Springs. We both I'm legally disabled, and I'm on disability for my mental health issues, and because I have a physical problem as well. But nonetheless, now I just try to get through every day with my sobriety, which is well intact, but still feel personally broken a lot of times, and I'm not being verbally or emotionally abused anymore, and that took some getting used to, even when I was together and when I first got with Cody. He has a different personality than anyone I've ever been with before, and I love him. He's good-hearted, and like I said, it took some time to getting used to that, and I think it's going to take some time for both of us to get used to that. I know I'm a good-hearted person too, and it's been time for me to start learning from all of my mistakes. I was 150% ready to get sober. I just didn't know how to do it, and I don't think it helped that I thought no one believed in me. I didn't know where to go. I didn't think anyone would be interested in helping me. It was difficult, just a low place. Anyway, it's a little bit about me. Recovery is difficult. You go through PAWS, post-acute withdrawal syndrome, which is where your body's used to having a lot of whatever that drug's creating for you, dopamine. let's say, and it's got much more receptors for that dopamine. So now that you're just getting the regular amount of dopamine, it feels like you're just depressed all the time because those regular amounts of dopamine aren't making you feel normal anymore. So that is part of what post-acute withdrawal symptom is. It can last 6 months to a year. I've heard it could last longer, especially if you're on maintenance therapy, medication assisted therapy. I call them maintenance programs. Some people don't like taking meds more than others, but don't ever quit taking your prescriptions. Talk with your doctor instead of just quitting. There's always got to be going to be something else they can try. Normally, try to make sure you do have a good doctor who understands you, a good advocate or social worker, and check out your state resources and any other resources. Unemployment is really helping people out a lot right now. They've seems to have laxed their rules. So apply. I know it's a hassle, but I mean, what are they going to do? Tell you no to $600 a week plus whatever you would have gotten? Go apply. Anyway, so purpose of my channel again is I made this channel because I feel and see that there's a way to help many more addicts who may also have pretty much any serious mental illness. And I feel and see that there's a much better way than some of the tough love models that are out there and other models that are pretty much a model of you got to do it yourself. There are many addicts who react to compassion and love so much better than tough love, and I would think that's most of them, especially if they have mental illness. I want to talk a little bit again about the drowning effect. People are at their most vulnerable and need the most help when they're at their drowning effect, when they're having this episode, I'll call it, that I call the drowning effect. And what can this drowning effect look like? It can look like complete and total desperation, often with desperate and regrettable acts or words from that person who's drowning during the period of time where they feel that they are drowning. It's completely, someone during that drowning effect is typically totally, completely unable to appreciate their actions, or more specifically than that, their actions, which is, the drowning effect is more specific than a breakdown. But when you can't appreciate how ridiculous or how, I mean, whatever you're doing to try to draw attention because you are drowning, obviously is not going to work when you're screaming and cussing or something like that, but you need attention. Something's going wrong in your head and something's going wrong in your life and things aren't matching up, and why aren't things working the way that, you're putting the puzzle pieces together and they look right? What's going on? Why are they not matching? Or, however you want to put it. There's a lot of thought processes about what the fuck, and really, whenever you get sober, you're gonna realize a lot. Be prepared. Be prepared to learn who your real friends are. Be prepared to learn who your ride or die bitches are. However, give family a break. They may have been dealing with it for longer than some of your other friends, or more directly. However, I'm going to make some videos for those who wish to help people who fall into this group, which I haven't really come up with a name for yet. other than mental health and addiction. So I would like to know if you guys have any morning rituals. What do you do to get ready in the morning? Do you take meds? Um, do you have to wait a few minutes after your meds kick in before you can actually function? I do. I do. A lot of us do. And a lot of us feel like that's basically no better than being on drugs because you had to go get drugs every day. Well, I understand that concept, but at least now when you wake up in the morning, just go to the kitchen and take your meds and go lay back down in your bed until you feel like your meds have kicked in. It's better than feeling like crap all day. Um, you may be taking a medication assisted therapy that